Hello. Today I had just finished my first game of the Reykjavik Open, and I'm here now at my room, and I just wanted to analyze my game. Today I played Pierre Bokobsa from France, and he played pretty good. I almost got stumped by him, but in the end he managed to blunder, and I won from there. So let's see the game. So we start off with e4, and he plays into a knight f6. And like I said in my last video, I play either knight g5 or d4. And today I wanted to go for d4. So we're playing the Scotch Gambit. And normally you are supposed to take, and then after e5 you play d5, and then bishop b5, and then, no, that's not right, sorry, knight e4. And then after knight takes d4, there's bishop b7, and then you go into this sort of setup where black is going for these queenside pushes, while white is going to go for the kingside pushes. Anyway, that did not happen, and instead he went for knight e4 first, which is also another line that you can play, which basically means that you have reroute your knight to c5 to e6, and then it will stay on e6 for basically the whole game. So I played queen e2, and then he moved his knight to c5, which is part of the plan, castled, and then he goes bishop e7. And I think you could also play knight e6, and after something like this seems quite scary for for white, sorry. It's like rook's coming down at you, and black's already developed 4 of his pieces, and white's developed 3. Well, technically 4, but the queen is going to go and get hit by another tempi, so that's a tempi lost right there. So instead of that, he played bishop e7, and now I go rook d1, hitting the d4 pawn. Now, after d6, I thought, hey, I can take this, and after takes, he takes with the bishop, and now I have, he has an isolated d-pawn, so I can basically just work off of his isolated d-pawn. And then I regain the pawn that I had gambited, and now he castles. Computer says that this move is an inaccuracy, but it's pretty hard to try and find anything else in this position other than to naturally just castle. Now I make an inaccuracy here too. I played knight c3. Knight c3 is actually a mistake in this position. The reason why this is a mistake is because he just takes. And now after a take back, he has bishop f6. And now there's no way for me to defend my knight from being taken by the bishop, and then my pawns are getting doubled. So what I should have played instead was bishop e3 first to prevent any sort of bishop f6 tactic ideas. And then after he goes something like knight e5, now I can play knight c3, and now my plan is I want to get my knight to d5. So after some moves like takes, a6, and now knight d5, as you can see, the whole point of the moving the knight to c3 in the first place is to get the knight to this beautiful square on d5, where it is controlling basically every square on the board. So, yeah. Also, by the way, my arrows are bad because I'm using a mouse on my bed, so it is not very, there's not very much traction. Okay, so knight c3, he plays two of the best moves. Now he takes my bishop, and I was like, okay, I know this is probably pretty bad here, but I also have this nice bishop pair, so I can maybe work with this dark squared bishop and like get some counterplay in. So he plays bishop e6, and now I play bishop f4. So now I get my bishop in and trying to attack this d6 pawn. So he plays d5, and now I move queen to f3. I can hit this queen, hit this pawn again because, well, you obviously can't take because I just take this rook. So it's pretty bad. I take the queen, and if he does the right thing and goes queen f6. So he sacks the pawn, and now after rook takes, the move was to go knight to e6 and then try and trade off these while also simultaneously hitting this pawn at the same time. So if I try and move my bishop away, like for example bishop e5, now queen takes and g takes, and now even though I'm up a pawn, this is like the worst pawn structure that you'll ever see in chess, and nobody would want to play this position as white. Everyone thinks even though you're just a down a pawn, it's way more comfortable to play this position as black. So instead of that, he played knight a4, trying to double up on this c pawn. And now here I play, I try and be a little bit aggressive and play queen g4. Now the point of queen g4 is that if he takes on c3, now I have bishop e5. And bishop e5 not only forks the queen and the rook, it also threatens mate. So he has to take on d5, and after takes and takes, now I have a queen for a rook and a knight, and this should be winning. But it would be a long endgame. So instead, after queen g4, he went rook f to e8, and now I had the option of going bishop e5 maybe, try and trade off everything and then go queen takes a4, but I thought after queen takes c3 this looked kind of interesting, maybe like rook d8 and like rook d8, rook e, no, not rook e8, rook e8 is bad, rook to c8, and now we're hitting the c2 pawn or something like that, and it looks interesting. But instead I go for bishop e3, trying to reroute my bishop to d4 to hit the same spot again. And even here, although I have, it looks very nice, like I have this queen hitting this knight, and I'm threatening bishop d4, we both actually completely missed this idea of knight takes c3. Now, knight takes c3 only works now because when I move my bishop to check, or my bishop to d4, he has check. Now, because the rook is here to protect this e2 square, he can then and only then play check. And once I move my king, then he trades off all of these pieces, and this is basically a drawn endgame. Or he could have also gone for queen takes c3, which still works too. But I was thinking about that, and I was going to play rook f1, and now I threaten bishop d4 and queen takes a4 at the same time. So he has to go like queen takes c2 or queen c6, either one. And now bishop d4, g6, and something like queen c4. But now the saving move here is knight c3, again because of this idea of knight e2 check. If I play something like queen f6, then he goes knight e2, and then after takes, and takes, this is actually a losing endgame. But instead of any of that, he played queen c6. He was too scared to take the pawn and was trying to defend the knight. And so now I am tempted to play bishop d4, so I go for it. And the correct move here is not f6. It is actually to go g6, because after g6, let's say I go with some sneaky move. What I was thinking here is trying to play some sneaky move like queen f4, but I think this also doesn't work again. Or there's actually queen takes d5, and after queen f6, there's king f8. Wow. Amazing. And what if after queen h6, then there's f6, and after takes, then there's queen f7, and now there's no way to recover. So yeah, g6 was the correct move. He was probably pretty solid here, but instead he went for f6, which was a blunder. And then I give back the blunder by going c4, because I was thinking, well, I was thinking actually here for like 20 or so minutes, and I was considering rook d7. I was also considering rook f5, but after rook d7, what I saw was something like g6. But what I didn't see is that after bishop takes, and then if takes, then I can just slide my rook over here. And even though everything is traded down, I'm actually up a pawn and the king is still exposed. So I could have gone for this. Instead, I didn't go for that, and instead I went for c4, because I was running low on time. I think I was at 19 minutes and he had about 30 or something. And so I went c4, and he cannot take this pawn. It is a poison pawn. And he thought he could take it, so he did. And it's a blunder because of rook d7. Now rook d7 works. Well, rook d7 did work earlier, but rook d7 works even more effectively because after g6, then there's queen h4, double attacking the h7 square and the f6 square. So either way, it is going to be mate in very short amount of time. So he goes h5, and after queen takes f6, he resigned, because there is no way to stop mate. There's mate here, there's mate here, there's mate here somewhere, there's mate here, there's mate here, there's mate here, there's like mates here, there's so many possibilities. So he resigned here, and I barely won. I think I'm a little rusty. I still have some rust to shake off, and yeah, but otherwise I think this was a pretty good game. I think just I need to, probably the turning point of the game was, the turning point of the game was definitely the queen takes c4, but I feel like another secondary turning point was probably this move, knight c3. Knight c3 was not good because of bishop, or like takes and bishop f6. But what I should have played was bishop e3 and then knight to c3. I just didn't realize that this was good. I thought that I had like rook d3 or something, but it just doesn't work. So yeah, I think maybe that is what I need to work on, is just finding those two move tactic ideas or whatever. I mean, like really it was like a small edge that I had just lost, but it was like an edge that I should have had anyway. So yeah, I hope you like my analysis on my game, and tomorrow I will be playing 2 games, so I will be commentating on 2 of my rounds, and tomorrow for round 2, I hopefully am going to be playing someone higher rated, probably like about 2,000 plus FIDE, something like that. So I gotta really lock in and make sure I win that one. It's because you always gotta go for the win. So Until then, I'll see you in the next one.